To those that know me, hi. To those that don't, I am Kyle the Big Runner. And 6 months ago, I couldn't even walk 10 minutes. If you ask my family, they'll tell you the same thing. I couldn't walk 10 minutes without having severe back pain, sore feet, and just wanting to go home. And it became incredibly frustrating going out with my family, going to the mall, going shopping. You can ask them the same thing. Because after a few minutes, I'd need to sit down at a bench and they go do their thing. And looking back at it now, it's pretty surreal to think 6 months later, I just completed my first half marathon. As Andy Glaze says, smile or you're doing it wrong. So, yesterday was the Wally Hayward half marathon. It is the thing I've been training for the last 6 months. It's been the most incredible journey that I've been on. That's just starting, by the way. And I'm grateful. I'm honestly so grateful. So I decided, I know I've been posting a lot on Instagram, posting a lot on TikTok, but I decided for the longer form stuff like this, I want to move over to YouTube as well, just so I can give you guys more in-depth stuff and we can talk about the real stuff when it comes to running. So how did the race go yesterday? Did I reach my goal? My goal was 3:30. That's what I wanted for the race. Did I reach that? No, I did not. I ended in 4 hours and 6 minutes. Getting into the race itself, there's so many things I want to talk about. And I'm going to take you guys from the start to the finish. So I hope you guys are here with me. So, start of the race. Before we even get there, what am I saying? I tapered really well. I hydrated. I fueled, carb loaded. I was feeling so good. I did my shakeout the day before and my legs were fresh. I was so confident 3:30 was on the cards after that shakeout run. I was just convinced this is what's going to happen. Anyway, I set my alarm for about 4 a.m. and at about 3:45, I woke up in a panic because I needed the toilet and went to the toilet and I realized, damn, my stomach is working. And I remember I will be honest, if it's too much info, it's too much info. Immediately while I'm on the toilet, I was texting my friend Jason because I knew he'd be up. And I was texting Jason and I'm like, dude, I'm in the toilet. I'm having a very runny tummy right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do because like I'm losing so much liquids. I don't know if this is gonna derail the race. My biggest fear was I did not want this to happen on race day. Well, it was race day. I don't want it to happen at the race. That is my biggest fear. Having to use the toilet at a race when I'm far from home, my biggest fear in running. I'm putting it out there. So anyway, Jason tries to obviously calm me down and says, nah man, listen, it's just pre-race nerves and this. Turns out, I don't know if it was because I went, I think about 3 or 4 times before I even left the house. And so already race day was not starting off well. But I was so locked into this race that I said to myself, you know what it is. We're going to go for it. And that will be the outcome as long as we enjoy the race. And for those of you that follow me on social media, you will know as well that I wasn't feeling too well leading up to the race. I'm still not feeling too well, but I'm actually much better. So I get to the start line, met amazing people. So shout out to everyone that came to say hi, wish me luck. Thank you so much. But we'll get into the support. Trust me, we'll get into the support. Anyway, rambling on. Anyway, the race starts. And my plan when I was going into this was I wanted to start the first 10K at least 2 minutes slower than my 10K PB. So my 10K PB is 1 hour 42 minutes, right? So I was planning worst case scenario to get to 10K at 1:45. If I could get to 10K at 1:45 still feeling good, I was confident of a strong second half because the second half of the race was more downhill, a lot more downhill. The first half was uphill, second half was downhill. Those that did Wally Hayward, you know what I'm talking about. So that was my plan. I didn't want to go out too fast. I wanted to control it. I wanted to keep my heart rate low. And if I look at the splits, I have the splits pulled up here. My first K split was 11:44, which is already a minute 20 off my PB pace. So I started even slower than I originally planned to. So, right, I didn't go out too hard. And if you look at my heart rate, I was at 135. I'll put the splits up here. But I was at 135, so I started controlled. But even though I was going so slow, because 11:44 is slower than my easy pace. My easy pace sits anywhere from 11 to 11:30. So I was even slower than that. But immediately, not even 100 meters into the race, I could tell something was wrong, and I could tell my legs were not underneath me. My legs felt empty, they felt dead. And even holding 11:44 just felt so difficult. So I immediately knew this is going to be a long day. And so yeah, I wasn't running alone. I was actually running with my father. And I mentioned to him, not even a couple hundred meters into the race, and I said, listen, I don't feel like, my body does not feel good right now. But anyway, as he did, obviously motivated me to, look, we need to keep going. And that's what I did. Look, I already had the mentality that no matter what, I'm finishing this race. So it didn't feel good. 11:44 first K, and tried to settle in, tried to find a rhythm, but I just couldn't. I genuinely just couldn't. I found myself taking walk breaks much earlier than I needed to. And then as the race progressed, you can see from, I want to say, the second K all the way down to the 14th K. We'll get to the 14th K. My heart rate sat easily between 160 and the max was 167. So very controlled the entire way. For the first 14K, extremely controlled. My heart rate didn't redline once, because 160, 165 feels relatively comfortable for me. It's a pace that I can hold. It's a heart rate that I feel good at. So pace controlled the whole way, heart rate controlled the whole way. My body felt absolutely terrible, but I was moving forward and I kept on going. And then I got to 12Ks. Now 12Ks is where the course changes, because from 0 to 12, it's a pure uphill course, right? And from 12 to 21, it's a downhill course. So I got to 12K and I reassessed, where am I physically and where am I mentally. Mentally, I was obviously panicked, but physically it also wasn't good. So I said, you know what, 3:30 at this point was still on mathematically, if I could finish a strong second half, but it would require PB pace, faster than 10K PB pace for the next 10K in order to get it. So from 12 to 14, I picked up the pace slightly, but the elevation obviously helped a lot. So the effort was more or less the same, but the pace increased because of the road we were running on. And when I got to 14K is where the race changed, because all of a sudden at 14K, it's as if my legs decided they were done. My legs decided, we're done. You continue, finish your race, do what you need to do. Do your 21, shout out to you, props. But we're gonna check out and you're gonna see us again. That's what happened. At 14K, we're still going downhill, by the way. My legs just stopped working. I was in the most excruciating pain. I had to walk downhill. I couldn't even run downhill. And it felt as if every step I take, I was on the verge of cramping. And not cramping like in my calf or cramping everywhere in my leg. Every part, every muscle felt like it was on the verge of cramping after 14Ks. Every step I took, it was, oh, is it not going? It was just horrible. It was terrible. And to be completely honest, look, I've always said when I started sharing content, I will always be honest with the highs and the lows. And I went to a very, very dark place mentally. And I started questioning myself a lot. I started questioning my abilities. I started questioning my social media, and I started asking myself, am I the person that I portray on social media? Am I the person that I post on Instagram? Or is that just a social media personality that's this, oh, we're gonna finish it and we're gonna get it done no matter what? Am I that person, or is that person fake? Is it just a facade? And those conversations went on. I'm not gonna lie, I walked a lot of the second half of that race, and downhill a lot of the second half of that race. And 14 to, I wanna say about 17K was very tough. very, very, very tough. Even if you look at the splits, 11:54, 12:38, 13:07, 14 minutes, 13:20 at 19 Ks. So you can clearly see I'm walking, and my heart rate came down with it. My heart rate dropped into the 130s. So clearly, cardio-wise, I was perfect. I was fine, but physically, I wasn't there. And then something amazing happened that I don't know if this didn't happen, how the race would have ended. I don't know, but it was the most amazing thing runners could ever do. So we get to, I don't remember the distance, but very close to the end. I want to say 17 and a half, somewhere there, somewhere around there. It was one of the last water points. And I was in this dark place mentally, and I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to finish. I'm not going to finish. My body was telling me I'm not going to finish. My mind was telling me I'm not going to finish. And there were two people. And I hope they can find this video, because I really want to speak to them, and I really want to get the video that they took, because they took a video of the moment I'm speaking about. The lady's name was Bussy. I remember her name. I don't remember the gent's name that was there with her. But Bussy, if you're seeing this, please reach out to me. I think they could see that I was in this dark place, and they asked me, how are you feeling? And I said, I'm in so much pain right now. I'm in the most pain right now. And they did the coolest thing. I don't know if they knew what they were doing, and I don't know if they knew the impact it would have on me. But basically, we interlocked arms like this. So Bussy was on my right, the gentleman was on my left, and they locked my arms together. And even though they were just there, it felt as if they were carrying me. It felt as if all my weight was off. I wasn't 147 kg anymore. I was 0. My legs were still on the ground though. And we ran. We ran. It wasn't for very long, but we ran. And I don't know. I hope someone can help me explain it. I don't know if it was a mental thing or a physical relief of just having the weight off me. But after that, a switch sort of flipped in my mind, and the pace doesn't reflect that. But a switch went off, and I want to thank them for that moment, because after that, it became a thing of, I no longer cared about the time. I didn't care about the pace. I didn't care about the pain. I started enjoying this race more than any race I've ever enjoyed in my entire life. The last 3Ks, 18 to 21, physically, one of the longest 3Ks I've ever had. Mentally, the fastest 3K I've ever done. I don't even remember much of the last 3K. All I know is I saw Bussy and that gent, and the next thing I looked up, and I was 500 meters from finishing the race. And when that happened, a small part of me was kind of disappointed that the race was over. Trust me, 99% of me was very happy it was done. But a small part of me was sad that I was just starting to enjoy this, and now it's done. But anyway, that moment that I had with them really changed how I experienced the half marathon, because it all of a sudden became this very beautiful thing. And if you look at it, mentally, you can even see it in the splits, because at 20K, I dropped down to a 10:58 at 20Ks in, which is not that far from my PB pace, which I don't know where I pulled that out of, but I did somehow, somewhere. I'll even post, I have a video of 20Ks, and I'll post that. I'll add that. But yeah, and then I get to, I want to say, a couple hundred meters before the finish, and I see Ingrid and Amber, and they were standing there. They had just done the 5K, and they waited at the finish line from that time with a poster. I'll put the poster up here. That says, Kyle the Big Runner, let's go. And if you know, let's go is my thing. And it was such a beautiful moment, man. It was such a beautiful moment. Ingrid, Amber, thank you so much to you guys. And then just further back, there was a group of people shouting my name and screaming, and it was such a beautiful ending to the race, man. And all the pain and everything, I wasn't even feeling pain at that point. It was so beautiful. It was an amazing experience. Also, there's another lady at, I think it was 9Ks at the bottom of Heritage Hill, just before the last big climb in midstream. She had the coolest anime cartoon version of me on a poster, and she was holding that sign up. And it's exactly what I needed just before that last climb. It was so cool. I didn't get your name, but if you see this, please reach out to me as well. Thank you so much. The support on this course is unlike anything I've ever experienced. And I know I've been rambling on for a long time, but someone asked me after the race if I could go back, knowing that I missed my goal time by 36 minutes. Would I have done anything differently? And the honest answer to that is no, because this race has taught me so much about myself, taught me so much about the running community. It's taught me so much about running and what I need to do to improve. And it was just the most amazing experience. And it's something I'll carry with me. I remember as I was making the last turn, there's a video of that as well. I'll put that here. As I was making the last turn and I saw the finish line, I mentally captured that moment and the pride that I felt in myself, knowing that 6 months ago, this would have been impossible. 6 months ago, I didn't want to walk for any sort of meaningful time. 6 months ago, the couch was my best friend, and it's insane for me to think about it. And I captured that moment, and I'm happy that I did, because I will never forget that moment. When I do a full marathon, when I do 2 oceans, when I do comrades, and I am going to do that, I don't think I will ever forget. Even in those moments, I don't think I'll ever forget what I felt in that moment, because that was the first time it clicked for me like it did. And before I end this video, before this race, the best distance I've ever done is a 10K. Not the furthest, I've done further. I've done 17K in training. I've done the Edenvale 10 miler. The best distance for me, the one I enjoy the most, is a 10K. And I'll tell you why, because a 5K feels too short to enjoy, especially if you're going all out. You're just in pain the whole way. A 10K, the reason I love the 10K was because a 10K allows you to suffer in the beginning, because obviously your body's warming up. You then settle into a rhythm, you start to enjoy the run, and just before it starts to hurt, or just as it starts to hurt, it's over. I've done the Spring Striders 15K, and when I did that, I would say a 15K, you go through everything you do with the 10. So you suffer in the beginning, you warm up, you settle into a rhythm, you enjoy the run. It starts to hurt, and it just hurts to the end, and that's it. The 21K has now become my absolute favorite distance to run, and this is why. You start to suffer because your body is warming up. You warm up, you settle into a rhythm, you start to enjoy the run. It then starts to hurt like crazy, and then at the end, just before you finish, the hurt turns into pride, and you enjoy the end of the run. So it's like a full circle distance. You get all of the emotions in that one distance. A 5K is pain, a 10K is good. I've never had a bad 10K. A 15K is pain. A 20K is pain, happiness, pain, joy. It's my favorite distance. I would recommend a half marathon to absolutely anyone and everyone. It is an amazing but brutal distance. Do I think I could have done a better job training? 100%. There's a lot of lessons that I can take, and there's a lot of lessons that I will take from doing that half marathon. What is next though for Kyle the Big Runner? Well, I am a person who I will enjoy the moment, and after I'm done enjoying the moment, which was yesterday, I'm looking at the next thing and the next goal. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So what's next for Kyle the Big Runner is obviously Hyrox at the end of the year. However, from a running perspective, what I would like to say is I would like to do another half marathon at the end of the year. And this time, I guarantee you, I 100% guarantee you, I will finish that half marathon in under 3 hours 30. The training is going to be insane, so watch this space. The training is going to be crazy. I'm going to take you guys along for it. As you know, 1K a day every single day, but sub 3:30 is a guarantee. I haven't picked a race yet, so if you know of a race, it doesn't have to be in Gauteng, it can be anywhere. Drop it in the comments. What race you want me to do the half at. So far, the race I'm looking at is Soweto Marathon, which is in November, I think. So that's the one I'm aiming for currently, but I'm open to suggestions. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my 23 minutes of rambling. Thank you guys so much for the support. We're almost at 10,000 followers on Instagram. It's insane. We are 3,000 something on TikTok. And we're a half marathon runner. Who would have thought? Who would have thought a big boy like me can do that? Anyway, get your 1K in. Ooh, before I forget, Robs, if you're watching, I hope you're watching. Robs pointed out something so cool to me. Yesterday was day 121 of doing 1K every single day. And yesterday was the first time I did 21Ks. Day 121, first 21Ks. That is so cool. Do you see how the universe works? That's your sign to get running. Anyway, do your 1K, tag me, add it to my story. Let's go.